Hey, welcome back to the program. It's the 18th of February. Nice to have you with me. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video. Click the bell for notifications. Tell your friends and family to do the same. Thank you very much for your support. I appreciate it. Real quick, want to check in some activities from DOGE. So DOGE is announcing today that in their first 28 days, 27 days, approximately $55 billion has been saved of U.S. taxpayer dollars across several federal agencies. And these savings come from a combination of fraud deletion, contract and lease cancellations, renegotiations, asset sales, grant cancellations, workforce reductions, regulatory savings. So far, they've looked at the U.S. Agency for International Development, the Department of Education, Office of Personnel Management, Department of Health and Human Services, Department of Agriculture. Some 200 contracts have been canceled under USAID. So really interesting work so quickly. And there's more to go. That doesn't include what they found over the weekend or since Friday with the Social Security system or generally at the U.S. Treasury. And what we're finding today is that Elon Musk has announced, after they went into the Social Security Administration, that over 20 million Americans are in the Social Security payment system. And as you can see on the screen, the age bucket, the field for identifying age in the death field, has been set to false, meaning that these people are not yet dead. And yet, if you look closely here, over 20 million people are still in the system, apparently receiving Social Security benefits of some kind, that are over the age of 100. Look at the numbers on the screen. I'll give you 100 to 109. I'll even give you 110. But above 110, we know the population is teeny tiny, if at all. Look at the number of people over 110 who are on the rolls, who are out in the Social Security system as being alive. 20 million. Look at 120, 129, 3.47 million. 130 years old to 139 years old, 3.9 million. 140 years old to 149 years old, 3.5 million. Now, the assumption that they want us to make is that these people are receiving benefit checks. That isn't clear yet. And what's really interesting is you scroll a little further down, we have people over the age of 240 receiving some sort of benefits or in the Social Security system. Let's hope that this is not what we expect, that this is fraudulent Social Security payments. And Musk indicates this is to the tune of about $500 billion a year. And then additionally, over the weekend, we find out that about $4.7 trillion in disbursements, payments by the U.S. Treasury Department are impossible to trace because they fail to use any tracking codes about what the money is spent for, who the money goes to. This is very common practice in the business world and the corporate world. It's common practice in the government world as well, or it used to be. And so there was no tracking system up and running. And so about $4.7 trillion of U.S. taxpayer dollars are untraceable, gone. Don't know where they went. Now, maybe they'll be able to find out with a little bit more digging. But this is just in less than 30 days what DOGE has found. This brings up the obvious questions. What are U.S. Congressional oversight committees doing? And what are the inspectors generals doing in the different executive branch departments all these years? Why does it take the Department of Government Efficiency, established by Donald Trump by executive order, led by Elon Musk and a team of software engineers, just days to find out? Why didn't these other bodies find these out over all these years? You can see here on the screen the mission of the Committee on Oversight for the U.S. Congress or the U.S. House. Our mission statement is to ensure the efficiency, effectiveness, and accountability of the federal government and all its agencies. We provide a check and balance on the role and power of Washington and a voice to the people it serves. Honestly, comical. Committee assignments are sought after by members of Congress. They're great for the resume. They're great for re-election. They're great for fundraising. Apparently, they're not great for actually doing work. And then, moreover, we have the Inspector General Act, which was signed into law in 1978, established 12 presidentially appointed inspectors general in federal agencies there are now more than 70. And as you know, President Trump has already fired a bunch of these inspector generals, and obviously they have failed at their job as well. Now, I can attest to the politics of this. I was deeply involved in 4 election cycles in the recent past. I've been tracking U.S. politics since the mid-1980s, a close observer. I can tell you each election cycle, there's politicians from each side of the aisle who talk about what they intend to do when they get to Washington. That's to cut out the waste, fraud, and abuse. It's well known, it's been well known since the 1970s. There's rampant amounts of waste, fraud, and abuse. God, you can go back to the World War II, 1940s, waste, fraud, and abuse. It's well known and assumed to be in place and never detected. Well, not in this way, not in the way that DOGE is doing this. And so this is really amazing work revealing the waste, fraud, and abuse, by the way, from both sides, right? This isn't just Democrats, it's just Republicans. This is Democrats and Republicans over 50, 60, 70 years. And how incompetent, inefficient they are in rooting out waste, fraud, and abuse. Not to mention the people over the years who have been head of these agencies, these departments, who failed, obviously. And so I don't know why anyone would have a problem with this in terms of finding waste, fraud, and abuse, and they're finding it pretty easily. All they're doing is looking in a way apparently few others have in the past. And so I feel good about this as a taxpayer. I feel good about this as someone on the right side of the political spectrum. And I ask my Democrat friends, why would you be so upset about finding waste, fraud, and abuse? Now, it may be the case that some of Donald Trump's team and Donald Trump are moving too quickly, that there'll be some mistakes, that things will be cut that shouldn't be cut, that we don't want to be cut. Granted, they're moving fast. Mistakes will happen. This whole idea about being concerned about Elon Musk getting access to our information, what information about us does he not have yet? Think about where your information is out there in the world. Think about iPhone users. Think about any social media site. Think about banks. Think about educational institutions. Your information is out there, and there's no indication that Elon Musk or anybody's team are going to be able to steal this information and use it to make money on their own. We'll see, of course, but that doesn't seem to be the case. Anyway, good news for us as taxpayers. Shouldn't matter where you are on the political spectrum. Good news for us as taxpayers that we're finding this. I hope they keep going. They don't stop. Remember now, one of the driving forces for President Trump to do this is his belief in more efficient government, looking at waste, fraud, and abuse, but also he's looking for spending cuts that can help him pass his tax cuts in the U.S. House and the U.S. Senate, where President Trump is going to renew his tax pledge from 2017, which was a good tax plan, reduced rates for everybody. But his new tax proposals, no tax on overtime, no tax on tips, these are really dangerous programs to go after. No tax on Social Security benefits, I'm on board with. We've already paid taxes on that money. And these savings may not result in any change in deficit spending or our debt, because it looks like they're going to pile on the tax cuts on top of these, what we're finding to be spending cuts. Now, we need a lot more. 55 billion, 56, 57 billion is wonderful. And I don't care if it's $1 million or $100. We want to save it. This idea, it's only a fraction of the $6 trillion we spend every year, is not an argument for not making these cuts, not finding these abuses. But President Trump's tax cuts represent trillions of dollars of lost revenue to the U.S. government. So we're going to have to move a lot further than this with respect to DOGE. And I'm sure they're going to try to go after that. They have lots of other areas to look still. But really interesting findings already, something all Americans should be happy about and frightened by, bothered by. Remember, these are our elected officials, our appointed officials, our government employees who have obviously failed for years and years and years. All right, that's all I have for you right now. Always try to buy American.